Hi, everyone, and welcome back to It Starts with Clarity. I'm your host, Ellen Gibson, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. In this episode, we're talking about something that touches every single one of us at some point in our life. The difference between being a victim and embracing the identity of a survivor. Now, you may ask, why does that matter? Because the words we use to describe ourselves can either chain us to the past or free us to step into our new future. We're going to explore what victim and survivor really mean, why both identities have value at different stages, how to recognize when it's time to shift from one to the other, and, of course, some real life stories of people just like you and me who've made this transition. So, if you've ever felt weighed down by something painful that happened to you and you're ready to step into a new kind of clarity, this episode is for you. The power of words. Language is powerful. When we call someone a victim, we're acknowledging that something harmful happened to them. It validates their pain. It says, you didn't deserve this, and it shines a light on injustice. But here's the challenge. If we stay in the role of victim too long, we risk identifying more with the pain than with the possibility. We start to define ourselves only by what was done to us rather than what we can create from here. The word survivor shifts that focus. It doesn't deny what happened, but it emphasizes resilience. It says, yes, something happened. It hurt, but I'm still standing. I have lived through it, and I am reclaiming my story. That single word change from victim to survivor is often the turning point where healing begins and hope reemerges. Let's break it down a little deeper. The victim mindset focuses on what was done to me. It replays the injustice or betrayal. It feels powerless or stuck. And it may say, this ruined me. The survivor mindset, however, focuses on how I responded and overcame. Extracts the lessons and growth from the hardship. It recognizes resilience, and it may say, this shaped me, but it doesn't define me. Both of these are valid. Being a victim isn't shameful. It's reality when harm happens. But the invitation is not to stay there forever. Clarity comes when we shift to seeing ourselves as a survivor, someone who endured, adapted, and is now moving forward. Here's a personal real-life story. One of my clients went through a painful divorce. In the beginning, every conversation centered on how she had been wronged. She called herself a victim of betrayal, and in many ways she was. That stage was necessary because naming what happened validated her pain. But after several months of journaling, therapy, and reconnecting with her own passions, her language began to shift. She said, I'm a survivor of divorce. Did you hear the shift? She moved from focusing only on what was lost to seeing what was being built next. The new identity gave her strength to reimagine her life. And today, she's thriving in ways she couldn't have imagined during those early victim days. Here's another story for you, a professional one. I once worked with an entrepreneur whose company collapsed after a major partnership betrayal. For years, he repeated the story of being taken advantage of, calling himself a victim of bad contracts. The turning point in his life wasn't when the business ended. It was when he reframed his story. He started saying, "I'm a survivor of a failed business. I learned lessons that make me wiser today." From that place of survivor strength, he launched a new venture. This time, he protected himself with strong contracts, better partnerships, and a mindset that said, "I've already survived the worst. I can do this." And he did. So let me ask you, where in your life are you still carrying the label of victim? What words do you use to describe that experience? And what would it feel like to shift the story, to call yourself a survivor of that chapter instead? I want you to take a deep breath and just sit with that for a moment. Sometimes the very act of shifting one word can shift our entire future. Here are some practical steps that you can use to make that shift. Number one, acknowledge the truth. Don't skip the victim stage. Say what happened. Give yourself permission to feel the pain. Number two, reframe your language. Begin changing your words. Instead of, "I was ruined by this," try, "I survived this." Number three, find your growth. Ask, what did I learn from this? How has this shaped my resilience? What strengths surfaced because of this hardship? Number four, take back your agency. Identify one thing you can control moving forward. Survivors step into choice, even in small ways. Number five, share your story. Survivors inspire others. When you reframe your experience, you give others permission to reframe theirs too. Here's a journaling exercise for you this week. Write down a story from your life where you feel you were a victim. Now I want you to write the same story again, but this time as a survivor telling it. Notice how the tone, the energy, and the outcome change. This exercise can be your first step in reclaiming your story. Now, here's the truth. Being called a victim acknowledges the pain. But choosing to see yourself as a survivor honors your strength. Both matter. One validates where you've been. The other empowers where you're going. Thank you for joining me for episode 12 of It Starts with Clarity. If this conversation resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with someone who might need to hear it. And remember, you can always connect with me at pivotpointme.com, where we offer mastermind groups, boot camps, and resources designed to help you find clarity, focus, and your next level. Until next time, keep moving forward with clarity, courage, and the strength of a survivor.